Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to another video. So in this one here, I want to talk about Rick Grimes and how he can affect, or how I hope he does affect, the final episode or the final season of The Walking Dead. Obviously, yesterday they announced that the show was ending in 2 years. The final season will start in 2021 and go into 2022. Probably late 2022, because that season is going to be a massive season with 24 episodes. And expect those last couple of episodes and probably a lot during to be pretty long episodes, because I think you want to do that for this, right? You want to give the perfect send off. So I think AMC, the actors, the writers, producers, everyone, they're going to go all out with this. But this show started with Rick Grimes. Like, this show literally started with Rick Grimes, and is it going to end without him? You know, like it totally can. It definitely can end without him, but I have an idea. I don't want to say theory because I don't like the word theory, because whenever people like suggest theories, they're technically not theories. They're like hypotheses or whatever the word is. Theory is when it's like confirmed and everything works really well. So I just don't like using that word anymore. But I have an idea that I think there's a good possibility. Obviously, they would have to get Andrew Lincoln on board, but I do think he could be in the finale. So before we get into that, I do have to say that obviously this will contain spoilers for The Walking Dead. And also, if you're new here and you want more Walking Dead content like this, make sure to be a subscriber, because these next 2 years are going to be insane. If you want all my videos and all the news we get, reactions, reviews for every episode, just make sure to be a subscriber. And also, if you want faster updates than that, just make sure to go follow me on Instagram. That's just @MusicMan on Terrace Street. The link for that should be down below. So I'm just going to start, and I'm just going to say it right out that I think Rick could be in the finale, and I think there's a way that you can do it, and I would love this ending. If there's a way that if somehow, Gimple is watching this video, please take my idea, because I would love this if this happened. Maybe I'm the only one. You guys can comment down below if you like this idea, but I would love it if this happened. And that is the ending to The Walking Dead. First of all, I guess I should say, I'm basing this off of the comic, but I'm replacing Carl with Rick. So, you know how they do this 20-year time jump and you see Carl there, and Carl's just so much older. He has his daughter now named Andrea, and he's reading, I guess, the story of Rick Grimes, the story of The Walking Dead, basically. That's kind of how it ends. Well, what if that's Rick? Like, what if Rick is in the final moments of this episode? He would be 20 years older, and it would be shocking because he came out of nowhere. So this way, the series began with him and ends with him. And the series is going just how you're expecting it, but just at the very end, you see Rick, and he's like, I guess, what, 60-something years old? He is very old with his grandchild, and it is shocking because you're like, wait, why is he there? And then you're starting to put all the pieces together. Like, I guess they did save him. He did actually make it out. He is here. He did make it to Alexandria, and they lived happily ever after. Because Gimple, I'm pretty sure, confirmed like 2 years ago, a year or whatever, that Rick does survive all 3 movies. I could be wrong with that, so don't quote me on that at all, but I heard that. So if they're just willing to say that he's going to survive these 3 movies, if The Walking Dead ends with Rick Grimes there and he's like 60-something years old, and they do that same ending, then yeah, I mean, that's the same thing already. If they're already confirming it, that's just going to more confirm it. And I think people would be so happy about that, to see Rick in the final episode really old and with his family, with his grandchildren, like with Michonne as well. People are going to be crying. People will be way too happy. And I think that's the perfect way, honestly, to end The Walking Dead, because you have to have him in the episode somehow. You can't end the Walking Dead with, even if it's a statue of Rick, it's still going to feel like, that he left so long ago. And you want them to tie everything up. Like in season 9, he just got taken in a helicopter. Now, for people who don't know that there's movies coming out, people are probably wondering what the hell happened to him. Obviously, you saw what happened with Michonne. She left to go find him. But what's happening with that? If the show just ends, people who aren't following things online or whatever, they're not going to know what's going on. Well, if you do that, they'll know that happens, and people will be like, okay, so Michonne found Rick and brought Rick home, but what happened on that journey, and what happened to get to the point where they're at with the Commonwealth, with basically them not seeing walkers at, like, anywhere. So it still raises a lot of questions. There's still a lot of excitement for the movies, and I don't know. For me personally, I think this would be such an incredible ending. Instead of having it where you see a Rick statue or something if they do the time jump, because that would be awesome, yeah, but it's still not Rick. To have Andrew Lincoln come back for this last episode, and it's a time jump episode where they jump forward 20 years, which like also makes so much sense. Like, he could have just returned a year before that. That gives you a lot of time to explore with the movies. You have 20 years, plus also the 6 years that they already did with the time jump. So it's like 26 years if they want to jump or 20 years in the first place. But yeah, I really like this idea. I do like this idea. I think this is a way that Rick could come back. Because it's so weird, or I have a hard time thinking of an idea on how you can bring Rick back to the story and how you could involve him with the Commonwealth. Because it is very hard, because he's already dealing with the CRM, and that means he has to come back right away, which means if they're doing these 3 movies, or if it's just 1 movie, whatever it's going to be, which, by the way, there's no confirmation on that. They're just saying 1 movie. The wording is a little weird, and maybe they're just putting all their effort in 1 movie, but they plan to do 3 movies. They will obviously do 3 movies if this first one is very successful. If it's not, and it doesn't really go anywhere, maybe they'll do a second one, and maybe that'll just be it. But their plan is for 3 movies, so that's far down the road. They're just focusing on this one right now. And so there's no realistic way to have him back on the show for the current story. You kind of have to do it afterwards. And because the show ends with a time jump, or the comic ends with a time jump of like, I don't know how many years it is. I think it's like 15 years. Could go up to 25 years. It's just in that range. That's why I'm always saying 20. It was a long time like that. It was a long period. It was, yeah, 20 years. You can have him appear in that episode. You can actually have that episode dedicated solely to Rick Grimes, where we actually follow Rick as he's walking around through Alexandria or the Commonwealth, and we're seeing that same story that we got in the comic, but substitute Carl there for Rick. Rick is seeing everybody. Rick is seeing Herschel, just, you know, the asshole that he was on the show, or on the show in the comic. You're seeing Maggie, and now she's the president of the Commonwealth. We're seeing Michonne as a judge. I don't even know if they'll do that. They could do that, but I don't know. That could go to Yumiko. That's very possible. But we're going to see all these characters in all these places. We can actually see Rick go up to Negan's door and just like put food there. I don't know what he put there. Flowers? I can't remember what he put there, but he gave Negan something. Like Carl did in the comic at the very end. We didn't actually see Negan, but we saw something like that. So maybe Rick could go do that, or they could just flat out give us some kind of Negan and Rick conversation there or scene. I just think it would be a lot more meaningful to explore that final, you know, just how peaceful they are, and that final episode with Rick instead of Judith, because I know they're probably going to use Judith or RJ, and obviously that would be amazing, but they're going to have to recast. We're not going to connect with the character. And it could still work. I just think it makes more sense to do it with Rick. If you want to raise emotions and you want to make it super impactful, do that at least, right? Or maybe save Rick for like the final scene. Save that for like the final reveal of the episode. Have Judith go around and explore all this and everything. And then once she comes home, maybe she has to go pick up her son. She goes to pick up her son and she sees Rick there on the rocking chair holding her son, reading him a book. People are going to lose it. It's like one of the final scenes. It confirms he made it back home, and like there you go, the end. Also, maybe Judith named her son Carl, and this way it ends with Rick holding Carl, right? I mean, it's not actually Carl, but just, you know, figuratively, like Rick is holding Carl. That'd be really beautiful. I think it would be such an absolutely amazing, beautiful, just, you know, it wraps up everything. Rick made it home. That's what everyone's saying right now. Like, the whole quote to this movie or to Michonne leaving and stuff is "bring him home." Well, that ending there confirms that she brought him home. He's home. So post all your thoughts down below. Let me know what you guys are thinking about all of this. Do you think this would be a perfect ending? And if so, yeah, let me know down below. But I hope you guys all enjoyed the video. I have so many more videos planned. I planned out the next week already. And it's just, yeah, it's going to be pretty chaotic because this just came out of nowhere. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.